Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar. I'm your presenter Akriti Jain from MeetUniversity.com, and today we are going to talk about our English proficiency test, in which we are going to highlight the significance and differences in our three major tests: IELTS, TOEFL and PTE. English language proficiency is one of the important criteria for international students wishing to pursue their studies at an English-speaking university in an English-speaking country. Because universities want to make sure you have the English language skills necessary to study at their schools, almost all institutions of higher learning require you to take a test of English, especially for aspirants from countries like India, where English is not a first language for a lot of students. Qualifying the English language proficiency test becomes essential. The English language proficiency of international students is evaluated through certain standardized tests, that's IELTS, TOEFL, and PTE. While TOEFL and IELTS are the more popular ones and accepted by more number of universities, there are tests like PTE, which are new entrants in this field. This presentation is to highlight the difference between these exams so that you can decide which exam to undergo according to the country you're applying to and your ability. All the three tests have certain varying characteristics which makes them all unique. Still, there exist certain similarities. That is the basic nature of the test. It all has four modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Moving ahead with the IELTS test. IELTS, or International English Language Testing System, it's a standardized English language proficiency test jointly owned by British Council, IDP IELTS Australia, and Cambridge English Language Assessment. Established in 1989, it is one of the more popular English language tests taken by study abroad aspirants. IELTS score is accepted as evidence of English language proficiency by 8,000 organizations globally. The test is conducted at more than 900 test centers and located across more than 130 countries. Each year, IELTS is conducted on fixed dates. There are two kinds of IELTS test: IELTS Academic and IELTS General. The academic version is available on all 48 dates, and the IELTS General training is available on 24 dates. IELTS Academic is for institutions of higher education and further education. The academic format is, broadly speaking, it's for those who want to study or train in an English-speaking university or institutions of higher and further education. Admission to undergraduate and postgraduate courses is based on the result of academic test. IELTS Academic may also be a requirement to join a professional organization in an English-speaking country. General training is is majorly for schools, workplace, or migration purposes. The general training format focuses on general survival skills in broad social and workplace context. It is typically for those who are going to English-speaking countries to do secondary education or work experience or training programs. People migrating to countries like Australia, Canada, and New Zealand must sit for general training test. Candidates can register online or via mail. The registration fee is Indian rupees 10,600 and it is subject to change. When it comes to IELTS structure, there are four modules: reading, listening, writing, and speaking. The reading section of IELTS gives you three texts, which may be from academic textbooks or from newspaper or magazine. But at all the level, it is for a university student. One will always be of opinion piece, that is, text arguing for one point of view. The variety of questions on IELTS is quite broad, and not every text will have every question type. One question asks you to match headings to paragraph in the text. You will be asked to complete a summary of the passage using the word from text, or you may have to fill in the table or chart or picture with the words from text. There may be multiple choice question that ask you about the key details. One of the hardest question types presents statements and ask you whether these statements are true, false, or included in the text. You may also have asked to match words and ideas. Finally, some questions are short answers, but the answers will be taken directly from text itself. Some questions come before the text, and you may require a careful reading to answer. Others come after the text and may expect you to have the text thoroughly. For listening, the IELTS listening has four sections. The first is transactional conversation, in which someone may be applying for something, say for example a driving license or a library card, or asking about information, say calling for more details about an advertisement or a hotel. The second section is an information lecture of some kind, possibly a dean explaining the rules of the university. Third is a conversation in an academic context. And the final section will be an academic lecture. For all the sections, you may be asked to fill out summary, fill in a table, answer multiple choice questions, label a diagram or picture, or classify information into different categories. You will be expected to fill out answers as you listen. In writing, there are two writing tasks on the IELTS Academic. The first asks you to summarize a table or chart in about 300 words. You will have to identify important information, compare and contrast different figures, or maybe describe a process. The second task asks you to present your opinion on a statement about a fairly open topic, such as women should look after children and not work, or too many people are moving into cities and rural areas are suffering. In speaking modules, you will be held in a different that is normally held in a different day from rest of the test, and it is held in the presence of a trained interviewer. The questions are the same in all the examinees, but some parts may be more in the form of conversation than a monologue. The first part of the test will be a brief introductory conversation followed by some short questions about a familiar topic. The interviewer asks your name, your job, what kind of sports you like, what your daily routine is, and so on. In the second part, you will be given a card with a topic and a few specific questions to address. You will have to speak for 2 minutes on this topic, which may be about your daily routine, the last time you went to the movies, your favorite part in the world, or some familiar topic. In the last section, the interviewer will ask you to discuss a more abstract side of a topic in part 2. Why do people prefer daily routine? Why do people like the movies? How does the travel affect local life, etc. Now, when we come to compare our academic and general test, um, typically for admissions into university, students would like to take the academic test. If you're applying to immigration to countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand, IELTS general test is required. The academic module of IELTS is mainly aimed at students who wish to study in a university that operates its course in English. However, some people who emigrate or wish to work in an English-speaking environment may also be asked to give the IELTS academic module. The general training module of IELTS is aimed mainly at people who wish to emigrate to English-speaking country, but who probably won't work in a technical job. This chart shows the basic difference between the two. The difference between IELTS academic and general module is that reading and writing tests are different. Listening and writing sections in both the modules are same. The listening section of the test consists of 4 parts with 4 separate recording sections. There are 10 questions for each recording section, so 40 questions in total. The key thing to realize when starting to practice the IELTS speaking test is that candidates only get to hear the recording once. The listening test should last around 30 minutes. The speaking section is also same for academic and training module. It is in 3 parts and should last around 11 to 14 minutes. A single candidate has one-to-one conversation with a single examiner, and the conversation is recorded. The 3 parts of the conversation on the topic of general interest, that would be for 4 to 5 minutes. A longer turn when the candidate must speak on his or her own for 1 to 2 minutes. In totality, it would be for 3 to 4 minutes. And finally, another conversation on more demanding topics with more demanding questions, that would be for another 4 to 5 minutes. In IELTS reading, the academic reading consists of 3 long reading passages with around 13 to 14 questions for each reading passage. There are 40 questions in total, and candidates have 1 hour to complete the test. The tests are more academically oriented than the general training test. The general training reading test is also in 3 sections, and it also lasts for an hour. Section 1 has 2 to 3 tests, and they will be on sections that test a candidate to operate in an English environment. Section 2 is on training or work topics, and there are also 2 texts. Section 3 has one longer text like the academic reading. There are around 13 to 14 questions for each reading section, and there are 40 questions in total. In IELTS writing, both the academic and general training writing test have 2 sections, and students are advised to spend 20 minutes on section 1 and 40 minutes on section 2, making 1 hour in total. In academic writing, section 1 asks candidate to describe the information in more than 150 words presented in some kind of graphic or image. This is often a pie chart, a line graph, a table, a bar chart, or representation of a process. Often the combination of charts are given. In section 2, academic candidates have to write a short essay for more than 250 words on a topic of general interest. In general training, writing test, Section 1 requires candidate to write a short letter, more than 150 words, in response to some information presented. Section 2 is very similar, um, though the questions are different to the academic writing, and to have a and you have to write a short essay for more than 250 words on a general topic of general interest. TOEFL, Test of English as a Foreign Language, measures the examinee's ability to use and understand English at a university level. It scales how well one can combine the listening, reading, speaking, and writing skills to perform academic tasks. With a history dating back in 1964, TOEFL is older than IELTS or PTE. TOEFL is a trademark of ETS. While both IELTS and PTE are classified on the basis of test taker, TOEFL is the only test which is categorized on the basis of test taking format. That is PBT, paper-based test, and IBT, internet-based test. Though TOEFL has both PBT and IBT, many of the test locations do not conduct PPT. IBT is more prominent now. TOEFL IBT has more than 50 dates per year and is conducted in 4,500 test centers across 165 countries. The test can be retaken unlimited amount of time but cannot be taken more than once in a 12-day period. Also, a candidate cannot register for another test that is within 12 days of the existing appointment. TOEFL scores are accepted in more than 8,500 colleges, agencies, and other institutions in over 130 countries. Candidates can register online, by phone, by mail, or in person. Registration closed 7 days before the test date, while registering online, in person, or by phone, and 4 weeks before the test date while registering in mail. The current registration fee of TOEFL is $165. TOEFL is administered by ETS, that's a US-based non-profit, and is used widely by American and Canadian universities. Structure of TOEFL is for IBT, it is consists of 4 modules: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. In reading sections, you'll be asked to read 4 to 6 passages of university level and to answer multiple choice questions about them. The multiple choice means you choose the answer from provided options. Questions test you comprehension of the text, main ideas, important details, vocabulary, inferring, devices, and styles. In listening module, the listening sections present long 2 to 3 conversations and 4 to 6 lectures. The situations are always related to the university life, that is a conversation between a student and a librarian about finding a research material or a lecture from a history class. The questions are multiple choice and ask you about important details, inferences, tones, and vocabulary. The conversations and lectures are very natural and include informal English, interruptions, filler noises like and In speaking section, that is majorly recorded. You'll be speaking into a microphone, and a grader will listen to your answers at a later date and grade you. 2 questions will be on a familiar topic and ask you to give your opinion or describe something familiar to you, like your hometown or your favorite teacher. 2 questions will ask you to summarize information from text and conversation and may ask your opinion as well. 2 questions will ask you to summarize information from a short conversation. Again, the topic of the conversations are always university related. In writing module, there are 2 short essays on TOEFL. One will ask you to write your opinion on a broad topic, such as whether it is better to live in a country or a city. One will ask you to summarize information from a text and lecture. Often the two will disagree with each other, and you'll need to either compare, contrast, or synthesize conflicting information. Moving on to PTE, that is Pearson's Test of English. It's launched in 2009. PTE is one of the newest tests that test and certifies the English language usage of non-native English speakers. PTE is accredited by QCA and administered in association with Excel, that is UK's largest examining body. PTE academic scores are accepted by top UK universities, top US universities, and government organizations. It is also accepted by UKBA for Tier 2 and Tier 4 visa applications and all the universities in Australia. PTE academic test is conducted in a number of test centers across 46 countries. In India, the test price is 9,300 Indian rupees. The scheduling for PTE academic can be done either online or by phone. PTE has three versions: academic, general, and young learners test. In both the cases, academic version is for the students planning for an admissions into a university, and general version is for non-academic purposes relating to realistic communication skills. PTE young learners test aims to test how well children can use language structures and at the high level on how they can use language to complete communicative tasks. PTE Academic is scored again the global scale of English, a thermometer style scale that gives you an accurate overview of your skills. The global scale of English aligns with a variety of popular tests and scales around the world. For finding out more about the global scale of English, your score report will have several sections: your personal details and a photo, your overall score, a detailed breakdown of your performance. PTE academic score reports includes your overall score, communicative skills scores, and enabling skills scores. The overall score reflects that overall English language ability. The scores is based on the performance on all the items in the test. The range of overall score is from 10 to 90 points. The scores of communicative skills, listening, reading, writing, and speaking, are all based on the items that accesses these skills, either in a single skill or together with other skills. The range for communicative skills score is 10 to 90 points. Scores for enabling English, grammar, oral fluency, pronunciation, spelling, vocabulary, and written discourse are based on all these items accessing one or more of these skills. The range of each enabling skill is 10 to 90 points. The display of scores in a graph allow you to quickly see your strength and weakness and how each skill relate to your overall performance. Comparing the scores, all the three tests, TOEFL, IELTS, and PTE, have different scoring patterns. TOEFL scores the candidate on the range of 0 to 120. IELTS evaluate the test takers using the scores from 1 to 9. PTE Academic grade the scores on a scale of 10 to 90. The score report for TOEFL and IELTS are received within 2 weeks and after 13 days, respectively. On a contrary, for PTE, the results are available online in just 5 days. PTE also sends score reports offering recorded speech samples to admission offices at universities worldwide. TOEFL and IELTS forward scores to 4 to 5 universities respectively for free. The score of TOEFL, IELTS, and PTE Academic all are valid for 2 years. So majorly universities, if for example, if the universities are asking for a score of 65, 6.5, that would be on PTE, it would be on a scale of 58, and for TOEFL it would be on a scale of 87 to 88. So that is majorly a requirement for students looking for higher education. 6.5 to 7. So for 7th grade, for PTE, it would be near to 65 or 66, and for TOEFL, it would be 98. Looking at the difference among the three, although all three tests have similar sections of reading, listening, speaking, and writing, there are certain unique features which set them apart from each other. The speaking test in IELTS is a conversation with a certified IELTS examiner, while is recorded on an audio cassette or a digital recorder. On the other hand, on both the TOEFL and PTE, candidate speaks into a microphone and the computer captures the audio. The TOEFL speaking is evaluated by a human rater, while the PTE speaking is evaluated by a computer program. In case of TOEFL, the writing section involved writing essay responses based on the reading and listening task and support an opinion in writing, while in case of IELTS Academic, questions are based on a diagram, graph, process, or chart, or an argument. PTE being new includes a lot of innovative question format. PTE has an automated speech and writing scoring. While exam, IELTS has set time for each paper and candidates can move forward and backwards, whereas PTE has section timings and can move forward only. An IELTS examiner evaluates the speaking abilities of the candidates by making live conversations, which indeed is recorded in some recording device, but in PTE there are no live conversation and candidate has to speak to a microphone for getting recorded into a computerized system. A computer program then evaluates the speaking and rates the test taker. The IELTS being completely paper-based uses diagram, graph or chart for a writing section. On the other hand, PTE is totally computer-based and thus uses more innovative technique to test the writing capabilities of the candidates. Now the question is, which one is better for you? Now, since you have the better understanding of each test, what it involves, but you might be wondering which test is better for you. Maybe at this point of time, in reading about the structure, you thought, wow, TOEFL sounds so easy, or I sounds like so much of fun. This might be a good sign, but that one test would be easier for you than the other. More concretely, there are a couple of key differences between these tests. So there are four parameters in which you can measure this. First being British versus American accent. While both the UK and US accept all tests, and while British English and American English are not as different as some think, the fact of matter is English IELTS tends to use a British English and TOEFL uses exclusively American English. On the IELTS, the difference will be larger effect because of spelling counts, and that one area where British and the US do not always see eye to eye. Obviously, if you have a problem with the British accent, and the test may include a wide variety of accents, including Australian, New Zealand, Irish, and Scottish. On the other hand, American accent may throw you off. Certain terms are also different, and you don't want to waste time in speaking test whether you are flat or a lorry is. So, whether you are used to British or American accent is certainly a factor. If you are more comfortable with US English, the TOEFL is a good bet. But if you are used to a British English, an accent you'll better do in IELTS. Then the second criteria is multiple choice versus copying down. For a reading and listening sections, TOEFL give you multiple choice questions, whereas IELTS generally expects you to copy down words from text or a conversation word to word. Multiple choice question will tend to require slightly better abstract thinking, but the IELTS favors people who have good memories and think more concretely. The good thing about multiple choice is that it is easy to pick out wrong answers, whereas good thing about copying down is that answer is sitting there in the text. You will just have to find it and repeat it. So concrete thinkers will tend to do better in IELTS and abstract thinkers will tend to do better in TOEFL. Third criteria is predictable versus different every time. Of course, the TOEFL is more predictable than IELTS, and IELTS throw a lot of different question types at you. The instructions are often slightly different every time. That makes it harder for to prepare for. The TOEFL, on the other hand, is pretty much the same every time, like picking A, B, C, D, and E. On the other hand, IELTS certainly keeps you on toes and that will keep you more alert. Fourth criteria is speaking to a person or a computer. Another large difference is how the speaking section is carried out. For some people, it is very relaxing to just record your answers into a computer because it feels like no one is listening. You try to do your best and forget about it until you get your grades. Because IELTS test is done in an interview format with a native speaker present, you might get nervous and feel that you are being judged and they take notes. You might feel that, oh my God, what are they writing? Are they writing something good about yourself or something bad? On the other hand, you might feel more relaxed in a conversation with a person there to explain if you don't understand a question or simply having a face to look at instead of computer screen. Getting feedback from a native speaker can also be helpful too in order to correct mistakes and improve during the test. So it depends upon how comfortable you are. If you like to talk to people, IELTS is better for you. If you just want to be alone and not feel judged, the TOEFL will be a more comfortable option for you. Last but not the least, it is holistic versus criteria. Finally, the speaking and writing section for TOEFL are graded holistically. The grader will give you scores based on the overall quality of the essay, including vocabulary, logic, style, and grammar. The IELTS, by contrast, is marked by individual criteria, and you are scored individually by grammar, word choice, fluency, logic, and dozen other criteria. In other words, if you write well but have a lot of small grammar mistakes, your TOEFL score might be good because graders will ignore small mistakes. If the overall essay is logical and detailed, then also it's good. The IELTS will not overlook bad grammar. On the other hand, if your grammar and vocabulary are strong, but you have trouble expressing your opinion or organizing an essay, you could end up with a low TOEFL score. But the IELTS will give you good marks for language use. So while it may sound like the IELTS is much stronger since it grades you on everything, in fact, you can get quite a good score if you are strong in number of areas. The TOEFL emphasizes the ability to put together a logical and detailed argument for summary and looks at clarity, word choice, and style above all. If you don't feel comfortable writing essays, but you think you have excellent grammar and vocabulary, the overall you are a decent writer, the IELTS will probably be easier for you. Moving on to acceptance, IELTS is globally accepted, but few US universities prefer TOEFL. TOEFL is not valid in UK, but is accepted by all other countries. PTE is mainly for Australia and New Zealand. For the registration, um, for IELTS, you need to book at least 3 weeks in advance. TOEFL, you need to book 1 to 2 months ahead. And for PTE, dates are available easily. And you also have a score option, scores within 5 working days. But there are few key points which you need to take care of. Make sure your scores are valid till the date of your program commencement. If your score is valid till the application date, that is a risky affair. I mean, that is risky for application as well as for the visa purposes. Alright, with this, I am ending this presentation. Hope this has cleared your doubts with the English language proficiency and will help you in achieving better scores by opting for an apt examination. Thank you very much for listening to me today. Have a great day. Bye bye.